Okay, so when you have the decimal places, sometimes you might want to have 5 decimal places or 6 decimal places, no more than 6. And then you want to also have your understanding of inverse functions is going to be based on, it can also be based on the decimal places and the number of placeholders that you have. So for instance, if you have a serialized number, you're going to have a placeholder at the very beginning. So you might have N747 something or other. So what you have to do is you might actually have to make it 0.747 if you have the means to do that. But otherwise, what you're doing is you're filling the function at n, and then you're getting the points. You might be getting just 747. And so this way, you know that this is obviously still a live function. I need you to call, and the whole thing is that we just did this out of just pure error, and that doesn't fly when you need to move decimal places. Okay, so the number may just be 74747, 74747 n at the beginning. So they have six placeholders, but it's a serialized number, and the first digit or letter doesn't matter. Okay. So at this point, you want to fill the function for n74747. You don't know what n is per se, even if it is a number. So you can make it 0 or 1. And so it can be a dummy variable as well. So any numbers with the serialized n would be placed in the bin that was on. Okay. So if you saw the last video, you saw that we were into the remainder error. So this has a little bit to do with remainder error, because we see that 74747, for instance, if it isn't 4/7 remainder, it's n. And if we say that n isn't a number, but a fraction, then we'll say that n becomes 0. Okay. We have 7.7 plus what will this be? Four sevenths. So it would be 4/7 over 100. No. 4/7 for 4/700. Okay. Okay. So we have that only because it's a fractional remainder. Okay, and then so this we can say is inverted. I don't know why, but it is because it was a 0 instead of a 1 for the serial variable, which is this NA1. And The remainder is 4/700ths. So for instance, if we're saying that we have a serialized number, okay, understood. It's serialized, so it's used for information purposes. The what we're doing is computing it mathematically, so that's a little bit why I say that. Well, I say that a string could represent tangents or ordinal pairs, where salty crew Thor is is basically representing one step, two step, 3, 4. Okay, just because I paired the H to T, and I'm saying T is for Thor. Okay, this is still live. I mean, really, I'm on the West Coast. The West Coast. The the thing with TH is that you're going in the middle of two spaces, 2 points, so that way you understand that it's exactly a midpoint. I mean, I just made it a midpoint. It could be at 4/5. I don't know, but I mean, if it is in fact it would in fact be a midpoint. So anyways, I mean, would it be an endpoint too? I mean, I don't know. That's how it goes to changing functions. So if it was in fact Salty Crew Thor, where it was an open endpoint, where you had T and you had hate, but you also had Thor, and so that means that we're ready to go, because for whatever reason we're just calling it Thor because we don't want T or hate, and we're closing this function right here. We're going back to the serialized variable and just basically able to map out if in fact it was an error, wasn't a random error. If we could keep this function at you know at hate and fees, hate fee. I don't know, because nobody hates me, because I'm an entertainment factor. But my name is almost written. My name is almost written on the bill, so you can hate me now. Just because I don't want to go into a fire or anything. Um, I'm just kidding. I need to rent a 747, not a 747, the private jet. That way, I get customers, sons and daughters. I really think I'm getting off on this. Oh, wow. So it isn't a random error. So that's the thing. I mean, it makes you think twice. If it is, would you have to revise the model and revise the function itself? When in fact we don't worry about that right now. We're just saying that we can change functions by closing the point at essentially where we found Salty Crew Thor. So that tangent is going off of a perfect linear axis, blah, perfect latitudinal line. So it could be at slope zero. I don't know. I don't really think about it. It just doesn't matter because that was random. The the whole thing with the salty crew Thor is that you're finding it on a coordinal plane where you're just basically you're traversing a curve. You're traversing a curve which is a bandwidth, which could be just about anything. I don't know at this point. It could be a note. God just playing a note. There's like salty crew Thor. It could have been a G note, could have been an A, could have been C. I have no idea. But the point is that it can be something else. So if we want to get to this remote island anytime soon, what we have to do is close this loop and change functions. So I made a remote island and I also demonstrated the inverse function of having a serialized number, which could have been random, but it wasn't. It wasn't random. So for this error type, we have a function that all we would have to do is go to a high fee and just say like, take me to this remote island because that's just where he just was. He could have been anyone, but he's my N747. So that's why, like, when you're on 6th Street or whatever, and they're just like, "Hey, nice to meet you," and it's like, I'm from La La Land, Oh, yeah. I mean, it doesn't. It's a little bit awkward, you know. Uh, but yeah, no, he's not a random number. He's not a random customer. But I might have somebody who's not a random customer either. But no, I mean, you're my 747, so that works. Um, and so how real could you get? I mean, well, it's just it could have been really real. But this is all about uh, kind of going into the f of t function when it's being inverted. We can call that another function as well. So it would just be the inverse of our f of n, f of whatever, f of x, and that's how we're able to see what could be the serialized numbers, whatever, serialized data set. Because what we did, hi there, I got one cat. All right, don't freak out. All right. And I'm still rapping, so you don't have to worry about me going postal or anything. Because I am late. And the whole thing was with making the inverse function was that we have the means to invert the function. I don't know why we're doing this. I don't know why we did that. But we have to take the function for n first, or for the first letter, or for the serialized portion of it, whatever is serialized. You get it. So now I'm dealing with my 47s. And for Nishan, N is in Nishan. Then I had my 747s. That's still in one function. I have my 47s in a different place. All right. So he might have the 47s. Do you have the 47s or not? All right, that was positive. So we're on a positive note. So my 747 has the 47s, yes or no? I mean, it's whether or not I'm showing them a high fee. When the high fee is obviously just my ability to obtain a rental on the 747. And whatever it is he wanted, I don't know. So I mean, so you get it. So like, I'm not gonna say that I can rent the 747 from him because I can, but it cost me a high fee. Yeah, so that's the thing.